Hey, my name's Ian. I like to blog about the San Jose Sharks. You can find my work at ianblogssharks.blogspot.ca. And normally I do my blogs written, but I thought today we would try something different. So I'm going to do a video blog, and I hope everyone likes it. What I'd like to talk about today is the Road to the Stadium Series game. I thought it was a very good series that, that there was a lot to take from it. First, though, and don't mind me as I look at my notes. The first thing we need to really cover, though, is the fact that you're talking about the Road to the Stadium Series, and this was a month of, two teams' lives being followed around, for countless hours. And all we really got out of it was, 4 hours of television time. So I think it's very important to be careful of what you draw, what conclusions that we draw from the Stadium Series show, because frankly, we don't know, what was left on the cutting room floor. So it's very important to try and keep that perspective. Let's get this started. The first thing that I would like to talk about is where the hell was Patrick Marleau? Patrick Marleau, drafted by the Sharks, spends his entire career in San Jose, and other than a few sound bites, from interviews, you really didn't get anything from Patrick Marleau. You didn't really get any inside looks at Patrick Marleau. When you got to see Vlasic and his dogs, and Joe Pavelski at home with his kids, and Joe Thornton on his boat, and at the Super Bowl party that he threw on. You really didn't get that with Patrick Marleau, and that really, really surprised me because of what Patrick Marleau means to this franchise. The other person who I thought would definitely get more TV time and didn't was Logan Couture. For a guy that we're all talking about being the future of this franchise, and for him not to really have any screen time, I thought it was really odd. And it's just been an odd year for Logan Couture. You have a guy here who, when the captaincy was stripped and they decided to go with four alternate captains, Logan Couture wasn't one of them. And then now you have it where he's not even in the Stadium Series show very much, and I thought that was very strange as well. Maybe I missed it, but I really don't remember him having that big of a part. So let's move on from that. I have a newfound respect for T Mac now. I've always thought T Mac was a good coach, and I feel like T Mac, there's been times where I've never really openly called for T Mac's head, but there's been times where I feel like I've at least questioned whether we should question, calling for T Mac's head in my blogs. Overall, I've always thought T Mac was a good coach, and this kind of reaffirmed that. And if I ever have any doubts about, T Mac's ability to coach this team, I think, they're mostly gone. I think a lot of the problems with this team, I think, are personnel. I really don't think coaching is an issue. I think if we fired T Mac tomorrow, T Mac would have a new job, within the hour. There's too many teams just salivating at the idea that we might fire T Mac. I know that's not gonna be the opinion of everybody, but that's my opinion. I think that T Mac's a great coach, and this series really showed how good he is in the room, breaking down play, talking, communicating to the guys. I know that he frustrates people because he's on the bench and, he doesn't look like he's very engaged, but I thought that this series really showed that, maybe he's not as engaged as we think he should be on the bench, but he's talking to the guys, he communicates well, and I really like the fact that he's the coach of this team. Um, speaking along the lines of the leadership of this team, I'm still beating the drum of Joe Pavelski for captain after this series, especially when Joe Thornton unfairly, in my opinion, and should have never lost the captaincy, but he did, and because he lost the captaincy, I just feel like Joe Pavelski should be the guy that wears the C, and this is a drum I beat all summer, and I'm not gonna stop beating it now because after what we saw in the series, again, we don't know what other guys may have spoken up and said stuff, and what we're allowed to see and what we didn't see. But from what I saw, Joe Pavelski, you can't go wrong. Further going along with the leadership train of thought, I thought it was very interesting how quiet Joe Thornton was in the room and how quiet Patrick Marleau was in the room. And again, we don't know if that's how they were the whole time. If they just didn't have it, they didn't say anything interesting enough to make the show. But I thought it was really because to a man, it seemed like this summer, like everyone still said, like player wise, that this was Joe Thornton's team. So for them to be so quiet, I don't know what to make of it. And I don't know if it's something again that based on what probably ended up on the cutting room floor, we don't want to draw too big of conclusions, but it was interesting. Let's talk about LA for a few minutes here, because as you know, they were a part of the series, and I think it'd be silly just to completely ignore them. One thing that surprised me, but probably shouldn't have surprised me, was there was nothing about the Mike Richards thing. Obviously him getting sent down to the minors on waivers. This is a guy who's signed for a huge sum of money, and to not really get anything on that was kind of disappointing. I mean, I understand it from LA's perspective. I'm sure that's something they wanted nothing to do with being aired on TV. I'm less surprised that they didn't talk about Slava Voinov. Obviously, I don't think anyone expected them to touch on Slava Voinov. So I think from that perspective, it was, it not expected for unexpected for Slava Voinov, and probably shouldn't have been unexpected for Mike Richards. But I'm still disappointed because I still think that would have made for some interesting TV. Um, you know, difference between the teams, man. It's important to know that when you're thinking about this situation here for the series, and I'm kind of mumbling here because I lost my thought. Okay, let's try again. When you're talking about this series, it's important to remember that the Los Angeles Kings were on the road for the vast majority of it, and the San Jose Sharks were at home. But what surprised me was how much you see the LA Kings out doing stuff together as a team, like big groups of guys, big steak dinners, breakfasts, what have you. It seemed like there was always a big, group of them together, and you didn't really see that with the Sharks. Like obviously Vlasic being at home injured at the time, so you kind of get there. And yeah, there was the Super Bowl party for Joe Thornton's house, and you kind of saw some guys together there, like John Scott, for example, who's hilarious this whole series. Um, so you saw like glimpses of it, but not on the scale that you saw the LA Kings. Like it just seems like the LA Kings as a team, they're just together more. And again, whether that's just because they're on the road, so they really have nowhere else to be. But even when the Sharks were on the road, other than when they were crammed onto their jet where they can't escape from each other, you got to see, oh well, here's Hurdle and Nieto in the room, but you didn't really see them going out and doing any big things together as a team. There was a lot of, hey, I'm going here to do this by myself. And I thought that bothered me a little bit. I don't know if it should bother me. I'm sure that's probably the same for a lot of NHL teams when they're at home. It's not, I think with the way the league is now, I think there's a lot more money involved, and I don't think the togetherness is anywhere because they're more, the people get traded so often and stuff. It just makes me wonder if there's something like this is a unique issue to the Sharks, or if this is just something that we would have seen the LA Kings be like if it was the Sharks on the road and in LA at home. Um, Other than that, let's what else can I talk about? Oh, Handshake Gate. How could I not talk about Handshake Gate? This may be the most ridiculous story from the whole thing, and I understand why people are upset about it. I get it. I understand that we want to, you know, we want to set a good example for kids. We want them to, know about sportsmanship, and I get that aspect of it. I really honestly do. But to me, these two teams hate each other. I have no problem with them not shaking hands at the end of a regular series game. And the Stadium Series, as cool as a spectacle as it must have been to be there, and I wish I could have been there. But at the end of the day, it was 2 points, man, and a very important 2 points. And I can't really fault the LA Kings for coming in, taking care of business, and taking off. Uh, you know, I get that the Sharks, I get that LA got to do it last year, so it's easier for them to do that. And I'm glad the Sharks enjoyed it, but I don't, I don't really see the issue here. I'm sure that the Sharks were probably happy that LA didn't want to shake hands, because I'm sure if San Jose was the instigators of Handshake Gate, we wouldn't say anything about it. So there's that, and I understand why people are upset. Like again, I understand why people are upset. It really doesn't bother me though. In fact, I kind of like it because these teams hate each other. Um, the handshake line, even in the playoffs. I mean, even in the playoffs, the handshake line is so fake. It is faker than the original six, which is another rant for another day. But if you listen to broadcasters, people in broadcast now, like your Nick Kiprios, your Kelly Rudy's, guys like that, they'll tell you how much they hated the handshake line, uh, as a part of something that they had to do, but they understood why they have to do it, and they get the tradition of it. If it was the playoffs, I would probably be up in arms about it a little more, but a regular season game, even if it's been handshaked at other Stadium Series games or Winter Classics or whatever, I don't know. I can't find the muster to get angry over it. And I think it's one of the most overblown things that I've read about today. But everyone's entitled to their opinions. I'm entitled to mine. You're entitled to yours. So, what did you think of the Stadium Series show? If you've seen it, was there any omissions that kind of surprised you? Was there anything that kind of surprised you from what you did see? You know, post it in the comments. Obviously, let me know what you thought about it. If you have any feedback for this video, please let me know. I know I probably have a face for radio, but aside from that, if you have anything you want to talk about or give me feedback, I would absolutely love it. If this is something you'd like to see more of, let me know. Because ideally, what I'd like to do is I'd like to do these on nights where I really shouldn't be up late writing blogs to begin with, and maybe I shouldn't be watching the end of a hockey game. But if I can get one of these out, then that would be better than no blog at all. So let me know what you think. Feedback, feedback, feedback. Thank you for everyone who reads the blogs regularly. Thank you for everyone who took the time to watch this video, even though I already wrote the blog and this video is here. If you have any other questions or anything like that, you can always email them, ian.blogs.sharks@gmail.com. Send me your questions. I have no problem answering them in my blogs, as you know. And that's it. So have yourself a good night, Sharkland. Stay tuned for the new Breaking It Down post that I'll be doing tomorrow to break down the Detroit, I believe we're playing next. So look forward to that. And thanks again. Bye.